What's going on, you guys? It's your girl Conditional. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna do another Wednesday series, which is Break It, where we discuss all the media that we have consumed over the course of my lifetime. So today we're discussing Rurouni Kenshin Part 2. I will leave Part 1 down in the description down for you down below. Please consider subscribing if you haven't, and hit that bell so you could be notified every time I post. And shout out to my new subbies. Hi! So what's up, you guys? I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing fine myself. Don't mind me. And thank you for asking. So the first character we're going to discuss is Yahiko Myojin. I believe that's how you say his name. Don't worry if I'm butchering it. I promise you I'm trying my best to get it right. Okay. So I personally enjoyed Yahiko's growth. His growth and his personal message so much that I really just wanted to see and know more. He is introduced in the story as a professional pickpocketer. Later we find that he is doing this to pay off his father's debt. The cards fell where they may, and soon enough, the Kamiya Kashin style dojo had its first student to teach in months. So Yahiko comes from a family of farmers. However, he didn't want to be a farmer. He really wanted to be a samurai. And for those who don't know, here's a little historical context for those who may be lost in what I mean. And he really did pay attention to Kenshin and his style of fighting. He even learned some of Kenshin's sword techniques just from observing. So Yahiko really was a sponge, and I feel like that's why he was able to become who he wanted to become. And because of his dedication to sword fighting, I found his growth refreshing. It was so refreshing as that first bite of a Snickers bar I've been starving myself for, because I've been on a diet and I've been doing well, and I finally get that Snicker bars that I've been craving. His growth was that refreshing for me. I would love a story on Yahiko's adult life. I feel like we deserve that as Rurouni Kenshin fans. I would so love to see just what he continues, to do. So another side story that I really enjoyed was Sanosuke's story. I had like the biggest girl school crush on Sanosuke for some reason. I don't know. So Sanosuke was just it for me. I don't know. He just was. But I know it was Kenshin's show, but it was something about Zanza. Sanosuke's origin was not revealed until nearly the very end. Sanosuke's he ran away from home when he was very young because he wanted to rebel against his dad. Again, I feel like this is the same story. I believe his father was, what was he? I think he sold things. I think he was something of a merchant, maybe. I don't remember quite. I forgot. And Zanza wanted to be a warrior. He wanted to be a fighter. He didn't want to do what his dad did. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want to be stuck in his hometown for the rest of his life. So, he just wanted to become a man on his own terms, and he felt like running away was the thing to do. So, I believe his father wanted him to be at home taking care of his siblings, and Sanosuke refused. He ran away to let her be in a resistance group. I forgot the resistance group name. I forgot. But this group later on disbanded and became known. And once it disbanded, he became known as a legendary Street Fighter Zanza. Which is really crazy because Sanosuke was very young. Very young. He was like 17, 16 when all of this was going on. Once again, he's a child soldier. Once again. And I thought it was odd for Sanosuke to be roaming around at the age of 11. But I'm just really happy that they at least revealed his origins to us and let us know why he was roaming around at that time. I think the life of single parents is just difficult. It's not a life that I live, so I don't want to judge it. I just can't remember what happened to his mother. I don't remember. Maybe she died, maybe she left. I forget the story. But add your father who's working and drinking all the time, and add the stress of having to deal with your younger siblings, and add that with you being young yourself. I feel like that calls for an extremely complicated situation that no one can really just up and deal with, and be equipped for it. It's just a different life. So, after Sano had enough of everything and he decided to just run away, I think he was just too young to realize that if he ran away from his past, there's no running away from his past. You have to deal with it or you'll be swallowed from it. So I feel like he was too young to realize that, but later I'm really happy that he was given the opportunity to come back and right his wrongs. So his story really did teach me that you can't run away from your past. You have to deal with it up front. There are going to be some parts of it that you don't like. There's going to be some parts of it that you do not understand. But running from it will only make it haunt you. So I really did enjoy seeing him close his end. I really did. It was also dissatisfying to see his consequences from closing his end. Because if you guys remember, he helped his dad without some thugs, but in turn that made him having to be basically a fugitive, and he had to run from state to state just to avoid capture from the police. So I was like very saddened to see that had to happen. But now we can discuss my favorite villain, Shishio Makoto. His story is one that is for the books. Shishio Makoto's story, I can see why it makes you sympathize with the villain. Like, you can see why he messed some stuff up. Like, you could definitely understand why he wanted what he wanted. Like, he wanted to see the destruction of the Meiji government. And I can see why. His story is just a cautionary tale for us all, really, how people will use you and then spit you back out and throw you away when they're done. So there are two main themes that I discovered when reading his story and learning just all about him. The first is that pride can kill you faster than anything else. And a great example of that is really during his fight with Kenshin. This is actually toward the end. If you remember, after Shishio was burned from head to toe, he had to adapt to a new way of life. And in that new way of life, he could no longer fight as long as he used to. He was not the beast anymore. He was like a minute beast at that point. He had to become even deadlier than he was before because he couldn't fight long. If he fought too long, if you remember, his body cannot cool itself down. So if his blood was to boil at a certain temperature, he would basically burn himself alive, if you recall, because of his injuries that he sustained. So in the beginning, this wasn't a problem for him because he was never met with an even match until he met Kenshin, and that was at the end. So Shishio was known and indeed trained to be the next Batosai. I believe he held on to that belief tighter than a 2-year-old clutches their mom's arm when they're meeting a new family member for the first time. Like, he really held on to that belief so tight that I think it ruined him. And that belief was that he was Kenshin's equal all his life he had been fed that from the people who trained him, and he believed it so even so much after his injury. So I believe this is what led to his downfall. Shishio was very unsuccessful in defeating Kenshin in the allotted amount of time, and against his better judgment, he pushed his body past the limit, and this burned him from the inside out. All because he could not and would not accept defeat gracefully. I guess there was, in his mind, there was no way to accept defeat gracefully. He was like, one of us has to die, and it's gonna be you. He just couldn't accept that it was him, you know. So pride will kill you, and fast too. And another thing I found like very fascinating was about Shishio's story was that the government at that time had trained him basically to be Batosai 2.0, and they basically feared Kenshin, and they wanted a recon unit, basically. Recon, you know, I believe that means to retract or to get back. I believe, don't quote me, I'm not military or anything, but they basically trained him to be a recon unit to take down Kenshin at that time. I guess Kenshin was growing so powerful that eventually they just wanted to just end him because the war was coming to an end and Kenshin was still killing people. But when they could no longer control how Shishio Makoto was, or they could no longer control him, that's when they were done with him. When he decided that he had his own thoughts, his own feelings, his own emotions, and he was going to do things on his own. The same for Kenshin. It's the same for Kenshin. It's the same story. It's the same for Kenshin. When Kenshin decided he didn't want to kill, what did he do? He left. Shishio, when he decided Shishio didn't decide that he didn't want to kill though. Shishio decided he wanted to kill everybody. Kenshin decided he didn't want to kill at all and left. Shishio decided he wanted to kill everybody. That was the biggest differences between the two. Shishio chose violence, Kenshin chose peace. But both of them chose war. Both of them. So I thought that was so interesting. Like, you can't tell me Shishio Makoto's story isn't like gut-wrenching, doesn't make you a little sick. Because I can see why he took down all those people. I can see why he cut them down. Some of it was uncalled for, but he was too far gone, I guess, in the process to really reel himself back in. It was everyone die. But, you know, when they couldn't control him anymore, that's when they wanted and tried to kill him. He was a hero when he was doing what they wanted him to, but when they wanted him to, when he was doing what they wanted him to. But as soon as he became who he wanted to be, they labeled him a monster. As soon as he could think for himself. Isn't that crazy? I think in a nutshell is what I believe is the problem with us today. So think on it. Thoughts in your comments down below. This is all the time I have for it. I want to thank you so much for listening. Once again, hit like, share, subscribe. I will come back another Wednesday and we can discuss something else. Stay tuned for more, and I love you guys so much. Take care. Bye.